In today's video, I want to talk about the dire problems that Anthem is facing right now, something that EA really can't control, and I don't think we should blame them too much. However, it is an indictment on the quality of the game, and that is the fact that the matchmaking in the game is falling apart seemingly due to a lack of active players. Of course, this is naturally what happens with any multiplayer game, especially a lackluster multiplayer game. It's often an issue in fighting games primarily where a player base declines so quickly because the game just didn't resonate with the community all too much all the time. It's not because a game lacks quality, it's just because a game wasn't a commercial blockbuster, and it being a multiplayer game, that just hinders the longevity of the game to a great degree, and it looks like Anthem is really facing that right now. I want to talk about Anthem, talk about potential solutions, and about the fact that EA is dropping the price of the game. I've been seeing Anthem readily available for half of its retail price, and even with that, it seems like gamers are just not buying in. Maybe they're going for other multiplayer experiences. Of course, The Division 2 did just recently release, so they might be busy with that. Who knows what the case is? It just goes to show Anthem is not seeing a lot of longevity within the gaming community. First up, let's talk all about Anthem, and I really hate to do this to Anthem because I feel like just about everyone and their mother has absolutely buried Anthem 10 feet under. EA has been buried 10 feet under. You guys know the story. Anthem quite possibly is the most disappointing game of 2019 thus far. Hell, you can make an argument that it is the most disappointing game of this generation. I don't think that is a hyperbolic statement to make at all, and that's because this game was done by BioWare, at one point a studio that was heralded among the elites of game development, but now you look at some of their recent projects with Mass Effect Andromeda, now with Anthem, Dragon Age Inquisition. While I really liked, it seemed like it was a little bit of a mixed bag to some people, and it looks like the next Dragon Age game, who knows what's going on with that. But what we do know is Anthem has been a pretty big flop, and even though this is gonna be a negative video towards Anthem, I have been one of those people that have actually said, hey, if you can find this game on sale, if you're paying $20 to $30 for it, which I've seen it as low as $20, actually. It was available for a little bit on Newegg for $20, which is absolutely insane. This game is what, just a little over 2 months old, and I think when it did go on sale, it was like a little over a month old, maybe a month and a half. You guys get the idea, but readily I've seen this game available for $30. You should not be paying $60 for it. At most, you should be paying $40, and I'm pretty sure you can find a deal right now of this game less than $40. But nonetheless, even with the price drops, even with BioWare updating the game, even with promises of the game getting better and becoming a more compelling experience, it seems like Anthem's matchmaking is falling apart due to the failed sustainment of player engagement, and that's naturally gonna happen with any game. However, a game that relies so heavily on its multiplayer, of course that's gonna naturally be an issue. And this was reported across the title's official forums as well as boards like Reddit and throughout social media. The game's currently facing a lot of matchmaking issues, and it looks like it's not because the game's networking is falling apart. It's not like there's an issue on the BioWare and EA side of things. It's just because players themselves are not invested into the experience, and there are not enough people actually playing the game. Players are having to tackle endgame activities without a full squad because they can't find allies, and meanwhile, those looking to complete lesser objectives seem to be out of luck, and anyone still playing Anthem, well, they are a seasoned Anthem player at this point, and they're hardcore into it, and they're farther along than those that are just looking to get into the game. So yes, while on one sense you can say they're dropping the price of the game, dropping the price of the game works to attract new players, and if a new player does get into Anthem, and they start playing the game and realize, okay, there aren't enough active people for me to actually have a quality experience with it. Of course, you can play with your real-life friends, but at this point, is Anthem gonna be the easiest game to sell your real-life friends on? I don't know if that's the case either. It's just very bad, and this is the issue with a multiplayer game like this, an online multiplayer game like this, getting off to such a rocky and terrible start, in that rebuilding it, while it's possible, it is very difficult, especially in the case of Anthem. It's seeming like day by day, it is just getting worse and worse, and the worst part about all of this is I think because The Division 2 released so quickly after Anthem, that if you were disappointed by Anthem and you wanted a quality multiplayer experience, I think Ubisoft knocked it out of the park with The Division 2. Obviously, they are different games, but they still offer you that team-based multiplayer experience, and I think if you assess the games side by side, I even said it going into the release of both of those games is, hey, I think this is going to be a pretty interesting story to monitor in 2019 because Anthem and The Division 2 are releasing so close to one another. Which game is going to sustain longer with players? And it's easy to see that The Division 2 has been that game. I'm not saying The Division 2 is solely responsible for taking away Anthem's player base. Anthem had its own issues detrimental to its longevity, but you guys get the idea. Those issues were just amplified even more when there was that direct replacement gamers could go to right away, and it being a game coming out so soon thereafter. And you compare The Division 2 on the fundamental gameplay offering that game had from launch, and then you compare it to Anthem, you could always make this argument element of, hey, the game is gonna get better over time, this is a game you have to stick out with, and I've seen that being a notion that's become more and more accepted in gaming. Oh, the game just came out a day ago, or the game just came out a week ago, or a month ago. Give it another 6 months and then it'll be a quality experience. If me phrasing it that way doesn't make you understand how ridiculous of a statement that is, I really don't know what to tell you. But then you compare it to The Division 2, which is a quality experience from the get-go, and it's gonna evolve as an experience and get even better, but you need to offer something quality from the get-go. We've seen comebacks before. I offer you a Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls Online, No Man's Sky. Games can absolutely come back from the depths of hell, but I think in the case of Anthem, because it's a publisher like EA, you just have so much negativity surrounding it, so much negativity around EA, BioWare, that not only are they working against Anthem just fundamentally being a flawed game, but they're also working on the negative perception of EA as a publisher. Look at Star Wars Battlefront 2. That game has gotten a lot better. If you actually play Star Wars Battlefront 2 right now, which I know a lot of you guys won't, but play Battlefront 2 right now and tell me that that game isn't a rather compelling Star Wars title. I think it's pretty good. However, look at where that game is at. It hasn't made a recovery. Should it have made a recovery? Maybe, maybe not. But quality-wise, it's definitely there. However, if Battlefront 2 launched from the get-go as a smooth experience and it didn't have all the promotional elements working against it, I think it would be at a much better place. In the case of EA recently, it is really seeming like they are destroying their own properties before they get off the ground. 2016 with Titanfall 2, releasing it around all those other FPS juggernauts, one of them being Battlefield 1 in a game you're publishing yourself, that just seemed like a train wreck waiting to happen. Of course, most recently with Battlefield 5, that game was pretty good, but the promotional side of things was just an absolute train wreck, and now you have it with Anthem, where this game is a train wreck as well. But in the case of Anthem, it is fundamentally flawed from the get-go, and it had so many issues from launch. And even again, I'm one of those people that did have some fun with it. I think jumping into Anthem and playing it with a couple of friends, if you get it cheap, there is fun to be had. However, if you're asking for a $60 price point, if you're expecting a BioWare level quality of a product, of course there's disappointment to be had in Anthem being a BioWare game. I mean, what else are you gonna expect? You're expecting a BioWare quality title, but nonetheless, you guys get the idea. I really don't know what the solution is. I know a lot of you guys meme in the comment section about I'll play Anthem when it goes free to play. Well, are we at a point where the game going free to play is the best route you can go? You absolutely can't do that right now because you just had so many people buy the game for $60. You can't turn around and then turn the game free to play. That's just not something you can do right away. When was the last time a game released and then 2 months or 3 months or even 6 months after its release it became free to play? That's something that we'll see, you know, maybe a year down the line, 2 years, 3 years down the line, 6 months down the line. That's absolutely something you can't do, and I don't know if that would be a case of it really remedying the Anthem experience, or would that be a case of, hey, EA is making this game free to play, just look at how much of a failure Anthem is, because everything EA related sometimes does get spun into even more negativity than it is. There's a lot of negativity with EA, don't get me wrong, and rightfully so, but anything that's negative about EA and it comes out, it seems like it's amplified tenfold, and I think Anthem going free to play, I do honestly believe that in some ways it would do more harm than actually helping and engaging the player base even more and reviving that player base. But nonetheless, you gotta do something if you want Anthem to persist as an experience. But at this point, I just think so many gamers have given up. I think there's been such a significant backlash to the game where I don't remember in recent memory there being this much backlash to a game and that's persisted for this long. In the case of a game like Final Fantasy XIV or No Man's Sky, people were like, okay, this game is really bad, and then they moved on to the next game. With Anthem, it just seems like more and more things are coming out and gamers are constantly being more and more disappointed. But nonetheless, at this point, I think gamers have already made up their mind. I don't really know if Anthem is revivable as an experience, because look at what happened with Star Wars Battlefront 2, and even with all of the work and the improvements that game made, it is still at a point where, yeah, there are some people playing the game, but it is not as big of an experience as it could have been. With Anthem, it being a new IP, it not being able to rest on the Star Wars IP, I mean, is this game gonna make a comeback? I highly doubt it, and at this point, I'm just thinking that the player base is gonna continue to dwindle, and we're already seeing that, yes, the game is being discounted, readily available for $30 or $40, and people are still not picking it up. At this point, do you slash the MSRP down to $20? Does that get people reinvested? I don't know. And I don't really know how you rectify Anthem as an experience. Maybe just chalk it up as an L and move on from there. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Have you played Anthem, or is this a game you're going to completely stay away from? What would you think about the game potentially going free to play? Is that something that could help, or is that something that would hurt the cause even more, like I think, because I am thinking about it from an EA perception standpoint? But that is going to conclude this video. So much to talk about with Anthem. Honestly, from a gamer standpoint, I want to see games grow. I want to see games come back. I loved what happened with No Man's Sky. I loved what happened with Final Fantasy XIV. ESO, and I can go on and on. I like games to make a comeback, but in the case of Anthem, I honestly at this point don't think it's possible. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.